Hi, I'm Luis Azevedo, Chairman and CEO of BRVO Mining Company, a PGM player from the TSX.
Luis, good to see you.
Nice to see you again.
Yeah, we're in a nice setting, right? We're like
Yes.
this, up in the mountains in Colorado. At a conference, quite busy. You're stacked meetings?
Yes, full schedule,
Yeah.
a lot of meetings, great investors, new investors talking to, very exciting times.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting time to kind of maybe change the register, improve the kind of corporate exposure and so forth. And this is, I think, one of the best in the year for sure. Like, we're going to talk about you. You've been very busy this year. The main resource came out.
Yes,
We're doing lots of drilling, PEA, moving through to PFS. So there's a long sort of sequence of things, and obviously a really exciting IOCG drilling campaign that's going on there as well. So let's just remind people, first of all, on the main resource, what are the kind of broad numbers there?
Well, we start 2 years ago with 120 million tons, not 4311. We are already in 236 million tons. Grades went from 1.2 to 203, supported by good price on PGM as well. Yeah. And also a new PEA showing like almost 80% of the whole resource, very shallow. Probably one of the best open pits of PGM mines around the world, gonna be in Brazil.
Okay, you hit upon a few interesting things there. Obviously, improving the scale of this. You've done this once or twice before. So what are you aiming for in terms of the scaling up to be kind of, I guess, globally relevant, but also kind of drive those economics? How much more can you improve it?
I think we already achieve a point where Luanga is considered one of the tier 1 deposits in the PGM worldwide. No doubt about that. But we're still far away from know what is the total size of Luanga. Because as I mentioned to you, we have most of our drilling on MRE going at least to 350 meters depth. But we have over 40 holes showing that the continuation is over 400 meters depth and beyond. So, we are very comfortable with this 8.1 kilometers of strike, which is massive. And basically, I think in terms of PGM, we're gonna be around there, which secure us 17 years at 10 million tons production, which we're gonna bring us almost 500,000 ounces of PGM per year and 8,500 tons of nickel sulfide. Yeah. So I think that position BRVO in the Carajas, one of the bigger miners that we're gonna be built around there.
Okay, so globally relevant. The open pit component, we've got to talk about that and the infrastructure around that. In the Carajas, open pit mining, is that seen as very normal?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
We only have one underground mine over there, which used to be my company. But most of the mines are open pit. And one of the good things in Luanga is that the strip ratio for the first 7 years is less than 5 to 1. And based on the PEA, the costs of producing the PGM are going to be about $700, close to $700, to an average price in terms of $1,300 today. So that gives us a lot of fat and a lot of confidence that how economic and good is the deposit. Yeah. But I still confident that the price of PGM is going to bring more than what it is today.
Yeah, it's coming off a low base, so one hopes for better things moving forward for sure. Let's move on to the PEA, because where I want to get with this conversation is to have a bit more a commercial conversation where we talk about the setup for taking advantage of what's happening globally in terms of the macro. So, but first, the PEA, just give us some of the numbers on that.
Well, the PEA, we showed two possibilities. One, which are going to be standard, producing concentrate, which the capex is about $495 million and give you an NPV of $1.2 billion. But also, if you put the vertical integration on that, which adds about $180 million of capital, you extend this NPV from 1.2 to 1.8 billion. So it's 20% more than CapEx and basically like 50% more on the NPV.
Right.
So, taking the benefit that you're going to have not just producing concentrate, but actually deployed metal to users. And with the benefit that you can sell the sulfur that you're going to be the byproduct into country by a relatively high price, $140 a ton.
Okay, and are both those options deliverable in terms of, I'm thinking specifically around the permitting and licensing components?
Yes.
They are, okay.
Because Brazil is one of the countries that use a lot of fertilizers, and the demand for sulfur acids is huge. So there is an appetite for that. Right. And where we could consider to put the vertical integration plant would be an area that he exports grains and import fertilizers. Okay. There is, we got a land back from the state already and a permit from the state, which allowed us basically to build the facility and sell to 5 options of producers of fertilizers, the byproduct.
Okay. So there's a market for it, and no kind of barriers to entry in terms of that market, whether it be federally or other. You've announced some drilling. I'm just going to piece all the moving parts that you've announced so we can actually have that commercial. There's a lot. You've announced some drilling. You continue to do more drilling because in between the PEA and PFS, you want to sort of see what you can, add to all of this. So tell us about that.
Yes, it's the second year that we are exploring the OCG, very early times.
Yeah.
And we put out several very interesting targets. We are continuing to explore T5, which is showing good results, 6% of copper today, 1 gram of gold. And there is still open to depth. Yeah. We need to figure out what the direction this is going, but it is showing very good potential.
Yeah.
This is basically 600 meters east of Luanga. And then if you look at to the south part, we just drilled T5 and got 2% copper as well, intersecting, and it's early times. We also have new target called Babylon, which is showing very promising. This is the continuation of the whole 47 in the north part of the Luanga. Yeah. And we still have others like Lizard that we're going to drill soon. So it's still early, but everything very promising. But one of the things that you look at the press release that's showing very interesting and probably that has a lot of potential is the geophysical anomalies. We we engage with the new geophysics, we reinterpret this, and looks like for their interpretation, which of course we need more confirmation, we need more data, it's early times, but they are showing basically MIV, which is the inversion of magnetics, with the potential of anomalies to probably to extend to 1 kilometer and over. And this is coincident with some drilling that we have done where we only achieve a couple hundred meters, 200 meters. So this is something that is very interesting, very potential, and we're going to be probably looking more detail in the future. We are going to engage with the new geophysical groups in Brazil to do a new survey and also contemplate the possibility to bring people from Chile, which do the deep IP, magnetotelluric technology as well, which extends the interpretation to 600, 800 meters depth, and eventually drill some of these targets.
Yeah. So what's the challenge there for you? Because obviously you kind of got, you're advancing obviously on the PGMs, fantastic, but then you've kind of got this big, you've got this high grade, it will be big once you keep going, you've got this high grade copper find, which you've got to work out, how does that sit? Do they kind of come together? Does it separate? So how do you get after it?
At this point, I think until we figure out that we have a copper deposit or a nickel isolate deposit, they're going to be together. Because that's the beauty of Luanga. You have everything in one single area,
Yeah.
combined. But we can see that they are separate. And in the event that we have something significant, we're probably going to spin this off.
Spin this off into one of your own vehicles, not...
We're going to be probably deploying the same shares to the BRVO shareholders and have two companies.
Okay, fine. So that's where it's going with this. It's like, is it a distraction at the moment? Or can you get on with Corp? It's a great distraction, because it could be a good company in its own right if you get lucky. But okay, with the kind of core business, you've advanced, we're now into economic study phase, and to kind of go through to the PFS, what's the time frame you're envisaging for this? Because, do you know what I mean? You think it's kind of big enough and it's relevant enough already. So is this just a case of firming up, adding some more drilling, but firming up on the numbers and getting this through to a point where it can be built?
I think we have to carry on the PGM, because that's what we came to the market to do it. And the idea is to deploy a PFS in Q2 next year.
Okay, there we go. Right.
We still have a lot of cash, solid position.
Yep.
You know, we are not a big spenders. And I believe that the exploration will be carried on as usual. We are doing that 5,000-10,000 meters in average, depending of the results, which is to make us able to not need to go to the market anytime sooner.
Fantastic. Yep. Okay. So are you subscribing to the model of, let's get this thing advanced through economic study phase, FID, feed, build the thing, get into revenue flowing, whilst concurrently building out the scale through exploration, which you can fund yourself? So, because we've seen that a lot in the market at the moment. It used to be a case, let's make this as big as possible, and everyone's happy, the market's happy, that's the model that we do. But now we're sort of seeing a model to drive to quicker revenue. Show me the money, I think is what people are saying.
Well, I agree with you. I think timing for construction in Luanga could be achieved in 2 years, easily.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
The infrastructure in the region is fantastic. Vale done a great job. Yeah. You have like water, you have power, you have access. Like, you don't need to build things that cost millions, sometimes hundreds of millions. It's already there. Yeah. And you have skilled labor available, trained labor. Yeah. So, and you have no oppositions, like you don't have groups against you. Yeah. In fact, the state is very favorable to mining. Yeah. Like, remember, we got our permit with 8 months. Like, if you think worldwide, that's amazing. Brazil is very pro-mining. Yeah. In the Carajas is, I would say, it's considerable like Pilbara for Australia, which things can happen fast. And with one benefit, the group that is in BRVO have done this 2-3 times, like in the region. We built a mine, we sold a mine 5 years ago, and this mine had been sold again by BHP by almost $500 million. So, like, the people that supported all this process is inside BRVO today.
Right, so we've got the build team there.
Yes.
You know how to do it, you've done it once or twice before. Can we talk about the simplicity of it, and that will give us a kind of sense of maybe the cost of it? We've got the PEA cost that is there, obviously, but you know, we need to kind of firm up on that one. So the metallurgy, you've been doing lots of metallurgy.
A lot of metallurgy.
Right? So you've got a good understanding of what you're looking at.
Yes.
And what does that say to you in terms of the kind of CapEx requirement going forward?
Well, at this point, what the numbers that you saw in the PEA are going to be refined, and we went to China also to investigate that by ourselves. Like, remember, we are a group that we do believe that there is great contracts around the world, no doubt about that, but we trust on our own judgment. We have hundreds of years of experience inside the company for that. So we're probably gonna bring the number a little bit more fine, I would say, but I don't envisage anything bigger than what we showed in the PEA. I think we need to improve, and we are trying to improve a little bit more the recovery if it's possible. There is new technologies that we could access to do that. And actually, what we need more is more geotechnical study,
Right.
more geometallurgical studies,
Okay.
which we, for the comfort of the market, we're going to do in Canada this time. We've done most of things in Brazil, but we believe that the investors would like to probably have more confidence. Not that they don't trust on the Brazilians, but they know the labs, they know the engineering companies outside of Brazil better than in Brazil, and we think it's a good blending.
Okay, interesting. And where's that feedback come from in terms of people? Have people said that to you?
No. We
just wanna
okay. Since we've done that few times, we understand what market makes more comfortable, and we like surprise better the market, not to the worst.
Okay. So, and then let's look at the kind of corporate structure at the moment. Obviously, you're growing in terms of stature. The market cap is improving, share prices is moving. The type of share register, shareholders that you've got is changing and evolving as well. So we're at this conference. There's a fair bit of retail, but there's a lot of business development here. There's a lot of institutional money here as well. So who are you attracting at the moment?
I think at this point, our share bases are very similar. What we got in the second finance, we've been trading a lot more than previously because the PGM is attracting thing, and I think the market is getting more convinced about the PGM, and they are familiar with our story more. But I think the investors that we've seen recently more interesting on us is coming from Europe, Australia a lot, because they are comparing the assets that they have over there with the North American, Canada assets and the Brazilian. And it looks like we are shining more than others. Open pit, high grade, low costs, pro mining. So that is bringing the attraction. But one very good surprise is the Brazilian banks, especially the Brazilian development banks, include us in the portfolio of their investors. So we are discussing with them, not just for debt, but eventually for equity as well. So that's what was new and was in the market recently.
So do you think there's a better understanding about PGM space? It went through a sort of rocky period 2-3 years ago where, I don't know, expectations being set because of EV is going to flood the market, etc. And that hasn't happened. But closures in different parts of the world as well. So what are the kind of macro factors driving this sudden interest or re-interest?
I think the macro factor is improving in terms of the ICE cars. And we saw not only that in Brazil or North America, but we saw that in China. We spent a month in China in July. And we went to see some automobile industry as well. So even the Chinese recognize that EVs were going to have a penetration in China of 50%.
Right.
And 30% are going to be hybrids. And 20% were going to be convertibles. Conventional. And around the world, the Chinese are saying we're going to be different, 50% conventional, 30% hybrid, and only 20% EVs. And that pops up the question, where the PGM are going to come from? There's no big mines popping up anywhere in the world, and there is more restrictions around the world on mining. So that put, I think, BRVO in a very good spot. And not just the market is telling us, but also the South African producers consider that the next mine, the next big mine to be built in the PGM are going to be Luanga.
Yeah, it's interesting because South Africa, obviously, historically, but even they're finding it very difficult to actually get mining these days. So Brazil, Carajas, specifically, good place to be for you guys.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Good man, good man. Like, very busy. You've done a lot since I last saw you. And when I see you next, what am I going to be hearing from you?
Well, depend. If it's in probably 6 months to a year, we're probably going to talk about PFS.
Perfect. Perfect.
And I hope new discoveries.
Perfect.
Okay?
Thanks
Thank you very
much.
much. Appreciate it.